The boy stood there longer than he should have. 15 years old. Too young to carry that kind of question in his eyes. Too calm for someone whose world had always been missing something he couldn't name. He hesitated just outside the glass door. Inside, the office was quiet, clean, controlled, the kind of place where emotions didn't belong. The man inside didn't look up at first. He was reviewing documents. Jaw tight, movements precise. Every gesture carried the weight of someone who had built his life brick by brick. Carefully, deliberately, without leaving room for mistakes or memories. The boy finally pushed the door open. The soft click echoed louder than it should have. The man looked up, and for a brief second, something shifted. Not recognition, not yet, but something. A pause that didn't belong. "Yes," the man asked. His voice calm, distant, the kind of voice that had closed more doors than it had opened. The boy stepped closer, slowly, as if every step mattered, as if turning back was no longer an option. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't explain why he was there. Instead, he looked straight into the man's eyes, too directly, too deeply, like he was searching for something, or confirming it. Then he asked, "Have you ever loved someone that you could never forget?" The room went still, not quiet, still, the kind of stillness that presses against your chest before you even understand why. The man didn't answer, because he couldn't, not immediately. The question didn't just reach him, it cut through him. 15 years. 15 years since he had buried that part of himself so deep that even he had started to believe it no longer existed. And yet, there it was, alive again, uninvited, unavoidable. His fingers tightened slightly on the edge of the desk. A small movement, but enough. The boy noticed. Of course he did. He had always noticed things others didn't. "Why are you asking me that?" the man finally said, his tone controlled, but just a little slower than before. The boy didn't look away, "Because I think you know the answer." A strange response, too confident, too personal. The man studied him now, really studied him, and something about the boy didn't make sense. It wasn't just the way he spoke. It was the way he stood, the way he held eye contact, the quiet intensity. Familiar, uncomfortably familiar. Have you ever met someone for the first time and felt like you were remembering them instead? The man frowned slightly. "I don't think we've met," he said. The boy gave a small nod. "No," he said softly. "We haven't." But the way he said it didn't feel true. Not entirely. Silence stretched between them again. Long enough to feel heavy, short enough to feel unfinished. The man leaned back slightly in his chair, trying to regain control of the moment. "Who are you?" he asked. A simpler question, a reasonable one, but the boy didn't answer it. Not directly. Instead, he took another step closer, now standing just a few feet away, close enough to see the faint lines around the man's eyes, close enough to notice something else. Pain, hidden well, but not gone. The boy's voice softened. "Do you think people can forget someone they truly loved?" Another question, another intrusion. The man exhaled slowly. "You don't come into someone's office and ask questions like that without a reason." The boy hesitated this time, just for a second, and in that second, something flickered across his face. Uncertainty, fear, hope, all at once. Then he said, "What if the reason is that someone never stopped thinking about you?" That landed harder. "And then we would be alive to someone never stalks. We would on the cupiness and with content." Much harder, because it wasn't hypothetical anymore. It wasn't distant. It was close. Too close. The man's gaze sharpened. "Who sent you?" The boy shook his head. "No one." A beat. Then, quietly, "I came on my own." That answer should have ended the conversation, but it didn't, because something inside the man didn't want it to end, and that scared him more than anything else. He stood up, slowly, maintaining distance, maintaining control, at least, trying to. "You shouldn't be here," he said, but his voice didn't carry the authority it usually did. The boy didn't move. Instead, he asked one last question. The one that mattered most. The one he had carried with him all this way. If you had the chance to see that person again, he swallowed. Would you want to? The man froze hair. Not visibly, not dramatically, but something inside him stopped. Because the answer came instantly. Before logic, before pride, before the walls he had spent years building. Yes, but he didn't say it. He couldn't. Instead, he looked at the boy, really looked, and for the briefest moment, something impossible happened. He saw himself, not in appearance, but in something deeper, in the way the boy waited, in the way he needed the answer. And that feeling, it didn't make sense. It shouldn't exist. And yet it did. Life doesn't work like that. The man said, finally. A practiced answer. Safe. Distant. Untrue. The boy held his gaze a moment longer, as if deciding something, as if confirming something. Then he nodded. A small, quiet nod. Okay, he said. And just like that, he stepped back. The distance returned. The moment broke. Or at least, it seemed to. The boy turned toward the door, hand reaching for the handle. Then he stopped, without turning back. He said, some people don't forget. A pause. They just learn how to live, without being allowed to remember out loud. And then he left. The door closed softly behind him. Click. The room was silent again. Exactly as it had been before. Clean. Controlled. Untouched. Except it wasn't. The man stood there, unmoving, staring at the door. His chest felt tighter than it should. His thoughts louder than they had been in years. What just happened? Who was that boy? And why? Why did it feel like something important had just walked out of his life? For the second time. Have you ever felt a moment pass, and only later realized it changed everything? He slowly sat back down, but he didn't return to his work. The papers in front of him blurred, his focus gone, his control slipping. 15 years. 15 years since he had allowed himself to think about her, about what happened, about what didn't, about what could have been. And now, all it took was one question, from a stranger, or maybe not a stranger at all, outside. The boy walked away from the building, his steps steady, but his hands slightly trembling. He didn't look back. He couldn't, because if he did, he wasn't sure he would be able to leave. He had come looking for something, an answer, a feeling, a confirmation he couldn't explain. And somehow, he had found it. Not fully, not clearly, but enough to know. This wasn't the end. Not yet. Back inside, the man finally spoke. To no one. Or maybe to the past. Who are you? But the question came too late, because the truth had already been standing right in front of him, and he didn't see it. Not yet. If he had known in that moment. And then there are people who learn to live quietly enough that their past cannot find them. Emma Carter belonged to the second kind. Her bookstore sat on a narrow street where most people passed without noticing. It wasn't designed to stand out. It wasn't meant to. The sign above the door had faded over the years. The window display changed only occasionally. And yet, inside, there was warmth. Soft light spilled across wooden shelves lined with stories people had forgotten to read. A small bell above the door chimed gently whenever someone entered. It was a simple sound, predictable, safe. Emma liked things that way. Predictable meant controllable, and controllable meant no surprises, no pain. At least, that's what she told herself. She stood behind the counter, flipping through a book she had read many times before, but never really finished. Her eyes moved across the page, but her mind was somewhere else. It often was. "Mom," the voice pulled her back. She looked up. Daniel stood near the entrance, backpack slung over one shoulder, his expression calm but searching. 15 years old, old enough to notice what wasn't being said, old enough to feel what was missing. "Hey," Emma said softly, forcing a small smile. "You're home early." Daniel shrugged. Practice got cancelled. He stepped inside. the bell chiming gently behind him. That sound again. Familiar. Grounding. Emma watched him for a moment longer than usual. There was something different in his eyes today. Something closer, more focused. Did something happen, she asked. Daniel hesitated. Just slightly. Then he shook his head. No. But he didn't move further into the shop. He stayed near the door, like he wasn't sure if he should come closer or keep his distance. Emma noticed. Of course she did. Mothers notice things like that, even the things they wish they didn't. You can tell me, she said gently. Daniel looked at her, really looked, and in that moment, the question almost came out. It sat right there, at the edge of his lips, but instead, he asked something else, something safer. Do you ever think about the past? Emma's fingers tightened slightly on the edge of the book. Just for a second, then she relaxed. Everyone does, she replied carefully. Daniel nodded. But do you ever miss it? A simple question, an innocent one, but not to her, not ever. Emma closed the book slowly. I think, she said, choosing each word, that some things are better left where they are. Daniel absorbed that, quietly, too quietly. Have you ever noticed when someone answers your question, but not really? He stepped further inside now, closer to the counter, closer to her. And what about people, he asked. Emma's heart skipped, just once, but it was enough. What about them, she asked, her voice softer now. Daniel looked down briefly, then back up. Do you ever think about someone and wonder what would have happened if things were different? There it was. Not direct, but close enough. Too close. Emma forced a small breath. You've been thinking a lot lately, she said, trying to redirect. Daniel didn't smile. I met someone today. The words landed gently, but they carried weight. Emma's chest tightened. Someone, she repeated. Daniel nodded. At a company downtown. Emma's mind raced. She didn't show it. Not yet. What kind of someone? Daniel paused, searching for the right words. I don't know, he admitted. He was different. Different. The most dangerous word. Emma felt it immediately. Different how Daniel frowned slightly, trying to explain something he didn't fully understand. Like, he didn't know me, he said slowly, but it felt like he should. Emma's hand slipped slightly on the counter. A small movement, but enough. Daniel noticed. He always did. Mom, I'm fine, she said quickly. Too quickly. Silence fell between them. Not uncomfortable, not yet, but fragile. What was his name? Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Daniel answered, without hesitation. Michael. And just like that, everything inside Emma went still. Not quiet. Still. The kind of stillness that comes when the past doesn't knock anymore. It walks in. Have you ever heard a name and felt your entire body remember something your mind tried to forget? Pretending to adjust a stack of books. Michael is a common name, she said. It sounded normal. It wasn't. Daniel watched her carefully. Yeah, he said. I guess it is. But his tone said something else. He wasn't convinced. He stepped closer. Mom. Emma didn't turn back. Daniel, you should focus on your studies, she said, her voice steadier now. Meeting strangers isn't something you need to. He didn't feel like a stranger. That stopped her. Immediately. She turned back. Slowly. What do you mean? Daniel held her gaze. I don't know, he admitted. I just felt comfortable around him. Comfort. Another dangerous word. Emma's breath caught. And he asked me questions. Daniel continued. What kind of questions? About life? About choices? About people? Emma's chest tightened further. And what did you tell him? Daniel shrugged slightly. Not much. A beat. Mostly. I asked him things. Emma's heart sank. What did you ask him? Daniel didn't answer right away. He studied her instead, as if measuring something, as if deciding how much truth she could handle. Does it matter? He asked quietly. Emma stepped forward now. It was subtle, but it was a shift. Yes, she said. It came out stronger than she intended. Daniel noticed that too. "Why?" he asked. Emma froze her. Because she didn't have an answer, she could say out loud, "Because I'm your mother," she said, finally. Daniel nodded slowly, but something in his expression changed. Not anger, not yet, but something closer to distance. "Right," he said, and for the first time, Emma felt it. The beginning of something slipping. Have you ever realized? Too late. That silence doesn't protect people. It just pushes them further away. Daniel picked up his bag again. "I'm going to my room," he said. Emma wanted to stop him, to say something, to explain, but the words, they weren't there. Or maybe they were, and she just couldn't let them out. "Dinner will be ready soon," she said instead. Safe, neutral, useless. Daniel nodded. "Okay." He walked toward the back. Each step, quiet. Each step, further. The bell at the door didn't ring this time, but somehow, it felt like something had just left anyway. Emma stood there alone again. The bookstore felt smaller now, the walls closer, the air heavier. She looked at the door, then at the empty space where Daniel had been standing. And then, her gaze dropped to the book in her hands. Still closed, still unfinished, just like everything else. Across the city, in a glass building filled with people who spoke in numbers and deadlines. The same desk, the same papers, the same life, but nothing felt the same. He hadn't touched his work in over an hour. His mind kept returning to one thing, one voice, one question. Have you ever loved someone that you could never forget? He leaned back in his chair. In Memona, who foru sida heva? I would be a doin in this fiver sis. I would be a doin the sida heva. I would be a doin the sida heva. And from the 4 or 5 a sida heva. I would well as on the river. And a fixed it ever. And the 4 or sida heva. Staring at the ceiling. He hated questions like that. Because they didn't leave. They stayed. They echoed. They demanded answers he had trained himself not to give. He stood up abruptly, restless, irritated, out of control. He walked to the window, looking out over the city. Cars moved, people passed. Life continued, unaffected, unaware. How strange that everything can keep moving while something inside you suddenly stops. He clenched his jaw. Ridiculous. He muttered. It was just a kid, a random encounter, meaningless. And yet, it wasn't, because he couldn't shake the feeling that something had just begun, and he didn't know what, or why, or how to stop it. Back in the bookstore, Emma finally whispered the name she had refused to say out loud for 15 years. Michael. It barely left her lips, but it changed everything. Because once a name is spoken, it cannot be taken back, and somewhere between the silence she had built and the truth she had buried, two worlds were already moving closer, slowly, inevitably, and when they collided, nothing would remain hidden. What happens when the life you built to protect someone becomes the very thing that hurts them? The story had only just begun, 15 years ago, before the silence, before the distance, before the life that Emma had carefully built to avoid everything she once felt. There was a different version of her, and a different version of him. They didn't meet in a dramatic way. No grand moment, no perfect timing, just an ordinary afternoon that became something neither of them expected. Emma was younger then, softer, still believing that life could unfold the way stories promised. She worked part-time at a bookstore even back then. Same quiet shelves, same gentle rhythm, same place she would one day return to, not for comfort, but for refuge. Michael was different, ambitious, driven, already carrying the sharp edges of someone who believed that success required sacrifice. He didn't walk into her life looking for love. He walked in looking for a book. But sometimes, that's all it takes. Have you ever met someone and felt like your life quietly shifted before you even understood why he came in near closing time? The light outside fading into gold. The store almost empty. Emma was organizing books behind the counter when she heard the bell. She looked up, and there he was, Tall, composed, a little impatient. "Do you have anything on international business law?" he asked. "Direct, efficient." Emma blinked once, then smiled. "Second shelf on the left," she said. He nodded, already turning away. But something made him stop. Just for a second. He glanced back. "You read all of these?" he asked, gesturing toward the shelves. Emma shrugged lightly. "Some. A pause." Then she added, "I like the ones that make you feel something, not just think." Michael studied her. That wasn't the answer he expected. "I prefer the ones that help you move forward," he said. Emma smiled again. "Maybe both are necessary." That was it. Nothing dramatic. Just a conversation that lasted a few seconds longer than it should have. But somehow, it stayed. He came back the next day, and the day after that. At first, it was always about books. Then it became about everything else. They argued about ideas, about life, about what mattered. Michael believed in control. Emma believed in meaning. Michael planned everything. Emma trusted what she felt. They were different in all the ways that usually don't work. And yet, it worked. Better than anything either of them had known before. Have you ever found someone who challenges you and somehow makes you feel understood at the same time? They started staying after closing. "We have found someone who challenges you, stay. We 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 have found someone who Sitting on the floor between shelves, talking until the city outside went quiet. Michael would loosen his tie. Emma would forget to watch the time. For the first time in years, Michael wasn't rushing toward the future, and Emma wasn't afraid of it. They built something. Slowly, naturally, without forcing it, without naming it too soon. Until one night, they couldn't avoid it anymore. The bookstore was dark, except for a single lamp. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Emma sat cross-legged on the floor, flipping through a novel. Michael watched her. "Not the book." "Here, you always do that," he said. Emma looked up. "Do what?" "Get lost in something that isn't real." Emma tilted her head slightly. "And you always stay in something that is, even when it's not enough." That hit. He didn't respond immediately, because part of him knew she was right. A long silence followed. Not awkward, just honest. Then Michael said quietly, "I'm leaving." The words hung in the air. Emma didn't react right away. "When New York first? Then maybe London." For how long? Michael hesitated. "I don't know." That was the moment everything shifted. Subtle, but permanent. Emma closed her book slowly. "And you're telling me now?" Michael frowned slightly. "I just found out." Emma nodded. But something in her expression changed. Not anger. Not yet. But something deeper. Uncertainty. "Do you want to go?" she asked. Michael didn't hesitate. "Yes." That answer was honest. Too honest. Emma looked away briefly, then back at him. "And what about us?" There it was. The question neither of them had wanted to ask. Michael leaned forward slightly. "I don't want to lose this," he said. Emma searched his eyes. "Then don't." Simple. Clear. But not easy. Michael exhaled. "You know it's not that simple." Emma's voice softened. "It could be." Michael shook his head. "I have one chance to build something real. To become something more." Emma smiled faintly. "You already are." He didn't believe that. "Not yet." "Emma," he said carefully. "This matters." She nodded. "So do we." Silence again. But this time, it felt different. Fragile. Like something was already breaking. Have you ever felt love begin to slip? Not because it wasn't strong enough, but because life pulled in a different direction. They didn't end things that night. They didn't fight. They didn't walk away. They just paused. And sometimes, that's worse, because a pause leaves room for doubt, for misunderstanding, for things unsaid. A few days later, everything fell apart. Not because of one moment, but because of one mistake. A message. Simpler, short, but never delivered the way it was meant to be. Michael had sent it late at night. I think this is too much right now. Maybe we need space. He meant temporary. He meant time to figure things out. But Emma never saw the full message. Part of it was deleted, or lost, or misread. What she saw was, this is too much. We need to stop. That was all it took. Have you ever lost something important? Because of something so small you couldn't even trace it back? Emma didn't call. Seeks Blaze. With a you scent of crosted. With a you scent of crosted. With a you scent of crossed. With a prosted. With a you scent of crossed. With a you scent of cross today. With a prosted a you scent of cross today. With a prosted a you scent of cross. She didn't ask, because her heart filled in the gaps. And what it told her was simple: he chose his future, not her. So she did what she thought she had to do. She stepped back. Completely. No explanation. No goodbye. Michael waited. At first, confused. Then frustrated. Then, hurt. Days turned into weeks. No response. No message. Nothing. And in his world, silence meant one thing. She left. Without a reason. Without a fight. Without even trying. So he did the only thing he knew how to do. He moved forward. Or at least, he tried to. Two people. One love. Destroyed not by betrayal, but by what they believed to be true. And then came the moment that changed everything. Emma stood outside a hospital. The air cold. The world quiet. A small piece of paper in her hand. Her fingers trembling. She had read it 3 times already. And still, it didn't feel real. Pregnant. The word echoed in her mind. Over. And over. She sat down on a bench near the entrance, watching people go in and out. Lives beginning. Lives changing. Lives ending. All moving forward. Except hers. She closed her eyes. And for the first time since everything ended, she allowed herself to feel it. Not just the loss, but the truth. Michael was gone. And now, she was alone, with something that would change her life forever. Have you ever faced a decision where every option feels like losing something she could go inside? End it. Erase the complication. Start over. No one would know. No one would have to. Or she could stay, keep the child, raise it alone, carry the weight of a love that had no place left in her life. Her hand rested lightly on her stomach. A small, instinctive gesture, and something shifted. Not dramatically, not loudly, but enough. Enough to change everything. I won't let you feel abandoned, she whispered, her voice breaking, not just to the child, but to herself, to the part of her that had already been left behind. She stood up, slowly, and stepped away from the hospital doors. That choice, that quiet moment, would shape every decision she made for the next 15 years. Back in the present, Emma stood alone in her bookstore, the memory still fresh, still sharp, still unfinished. She looked toward the door, as if expecting something. Or, I thought I was protecting you, she whispered softly. But for the first time, that belief didn't feel certain anymore, because somewhere out there, her son had already started asking questions, and the man she once loved was already starting to remember. What happens when the past you buried begins to walk back into your life? One step at a time. Some encounters feel random, unplanned, forgettable, but others, they arrive quietly and change everything before you even realize it. Daniel didn't plan to see him again. At least, not at first. But once a question is asked, it doesn't disappear. It grows. It lingers. It pulls you back. 3 days after that first meeting, Daniel found himself standing across the street from the same building. The glass exterior reflected the afternoon light. Clean, distant, unapproachable, just like the man inside. Daniel adjusted the strap on his backpack. He told himself this was nothing, just curiosity, just a coincidence. But deep down, he knew it wasn't. Have you ever gone back to a place? Not because you needed to, but because something inside you wasn't finished. He crossed the street, step by step, heart steady, but not calm. Inside, the lobby was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you aware of your own breathing. The receptionist glanced up. "Can I help you?" Daniel hesitated, then nodded. "I'm here to see Mr. Turner." She frowned slightly. "Do you have an appointment?" "No." A pause. "That's not usually how he met me before," Daniel said. It wasn't entirely true, but it wasn't a lie either. The receptionist studied him, then picked up the phone. "Mr. Turner, there's a young man here asking to see you." A beat, then another. Her expression shifted slightly. Surprised. "All right." She hung up. "You can go up." Daniel nodded. "Thank you." The elevator ride felt longer than it should. Every second stretched. Every thought louder. What am I doing? Why does this matter so much? The doors opened, and there he was again. Michael Turner, standing near his desk, waiting. This time, he was already looking at him. No confusion, no surprise, just something else. Expectation. "You came back," Michael said. Daniel stepped forward. "Yeah." A simple answer, but it carried weight. Michael studied him again, more carefully this time, like he was trying to solve something. "You didn't answer my question last time," he said. "Which one?" "Who you are." Daniel held his gaze. "Does it matter?" Michael's jaw tightened slightly. "Yes." A beat. Daniel shook his head. "Not yet." That should have ended it. It should have annoyed him. It should have pushed him away. But instead, Michael felt something unexpected. Interest. "All right," he said slowly. "Then why are you here?" Daniel thought about it, then answered honestly. "I don't know." Michael raised an eyebrow. "That's not a good reason." Daniel nodded. "I know." A small silence. Then, "But it's the truth." Michael turned slightly, walking toward the window. He didn't tell the boy to leave. He didn't call security. And that alone said more than anything else. "Sit," he said. Daniel hesitated, then sat. And just like that, something began. Not a relationship, not yet, but a connection. Fragile, unspoken, real. Michael leaned against the edge of his desk. "What do you want to know?" he asked. Daniel didn't answer right away. He looked around the office instead. Clean lines. No personal photos. No signs of family. Nothing that suggested a life outside of work. "Do you live alone?" Daniel asked. Michael frowned. "That's your question," Daniel shrugged. "Maybe." Michael exhaled slowly. "Yes." A beat. Why? Daniel looked back at him, just wondering. Michael studied him again. This boy, he didn't ask random questions. Every word felt intentional, even when it didn't seem like it. "And you?" Michael asked. "Do you live with your parents?" Daniel hesitated, then nodded. "My mom." "And your father?" There it was. The question, simple, direct, dangerous. Daniel's expression didn't change much, but something in his eyes did. "I don't know him." Michael felt that, more than he expected. "He's not around." Daniel shook his head. "Never was." Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Michael looked away briefly. Why does that bother me? He didn't know. He shouldn't care. And yet, he did. Daniel leaned back slightly. "Do you have kids?" Michael turned back. "No." The answer came quickly. Too quickly. Daniel nodded slowly. "Do you ever think about having one?" Michael almost smiled. "Almost. That's not exactly something you decide overnight." Daniel looked at him. "Maybe not." A pause. "But sometimes life decides for you." That hit harder than expected. Michael's expression shifted slightly. "You talk like you've lived a long time." Daniel shrugged. "Long enough." Another silence. But this one felt different. Less tense. More curious. Michael crossed his arms. "You ask a lot of questions." Daniel gave a small smile. "Only the important ones." Michael almost laughed. "Almost. Have you ever met someone who shouldn't matter, but somehow already does?" Minutes passed. Then more. The conversation moved. From questions to answers. From distance to something closer. Michael found himself explaining things. Work. Life. Decisions. Things he hadn't talked about in years. And Daniel listened. Not like a kid, but like someone who understood more than he should. At one point, Daniel struggled with a problem from school. Math. Complicated. Frustrating. Michael took the paper, looked at it, and without thinking, sat beside him. "Here," he said. "You're overcomplicating it." Daniel leaned in slightly, watching, listening, following, and for a moment, there was no past, no confusion, no missing pieces. Just a man, helping a boy, and something about it felt right, natural, like it had always been meant to happen. Have you ever experienced a moment that feels so normal, it scares you? Michael handed the paper back. Michael handed the paper back. "Try it again." Daniel did. This time, he got it. A small smile appeared on his face. "Thanks." Michael nodded. "It's not that hard once you understand the pattern." Daniel looked at him. "Yeah, a beat. Guess I just needed someone to show me." That sentence lingered, longer than it should have. Michael looked away. Why does that sound like more than just math? Time passed faster after that. Too fast. 1:18. Daniel stood up. "I should go." Michael nodded. "Yeah, but something in his tone didn't quite want that." Daniel hesitated near the door, then turned back. "Can I come again?" There it was. Simple, honest, unexpected. Michael didn't answer immediately, because the answer mattered more than it should. He could say no, end it, keep his life exactly as it was. Controlled, predictable, safe. Or he could say yes, and allow something unknown to enter, something he couldn't define. Or control, or ignore. He looked at the boy, really looked, and again. Familiar, unexplainable, persistent. "If you have a reason," Michael said finally. Daniel nodded. "I think I do." And just like that, it became something more than a coincidence. Outside, the city moved on, unaware, unchanged, but in a small bookstore across town, Emma froze as she listened. "Michael," Daniel had said. The name echoed in her mind again. Louder now, closer, real. "Where did you meet him?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Daniel hesitated, then answered, "At his office." Emma's breath caught. Her fingers tightened around the edge of the counter. "Are you going back?" she asked. Daniel looked at her. Direct, honest. "Yes." The word landed hard. Too hard. "No," Emma said immediately. Too quickly. Too sharply. Daniel blinked. Why not? Emma struggled, searching for a reason she could say out loud. "You don't know him," she said. Daniel's eyes narrowed slightly. "And you do?" That question cut deeper than he intended. Emma froze her. You reacted when I said his name." Daniel continued. "Mum, what aren't you telling me?" There it was, the line she had avoided for 15 years. And now, her son was standing right in front of it, waiting. "Have you ever realized that the truth you hide to protect someone is the same truth they will one day demand?" Emma shook her head. "It's nothing," she said. Daniel didn't move. "Then why are you scared?" She couldn't answer. Because she was. More than she had been in years. "Daniel, please," she said softly. "Just don't see him again." Daniel's expression changed. Not anger, but something stronger. Resolve. "I need to." Emma's heart dropped. Why? Daniel held her gaze. "Because when I'm around him..." A pause. "I don't feel like something is missing." Silence. Complete. Unforgiving. Emma felt the ground shift beneath her. Because that was exactly what she had tried to prevent. And exactly what she had caused. Across the city, Michael stood alone in his office again. But this time, he wasn't confused. He wasn't irritated. He wasn't dismissive. He was thinking about the boy, about the questions, about the feeling he couldn't explain. He walked to his desk, opened a drawer, and pulled out something he hadn't looked at in years. A small, worn photograph, faded at the edges. Emma, smiling, alive, unbroken. He stared at it, longer than he should have. Then, almost unconsciously, he whispered, "It's impossible." But the doubt, it was already there, growing, unavoidable, and somewhere between the past they had lost and the present they couldn't control. Quietly, inevitably, what happens when fate doesn't ask for permission? It simply brings people back together. Some bonds don't need to be explained. They form quietly, naturally, before anyone realizes what's happening. And sometimes, that's what makes them the most dangerous. Daniel kept going back. At first, once every few days. Then, more often, he didn't tell his mother. Not because he wanted to lie, but because something inside him felt this wasn't something that could be explained yet. Have you ever kept something to yourself? Not out of rebellion, but because it felt too important to share. Too soon, Michael didn't stop him. That was the first change. The first crack. The first sign that something in his carefully controlled life was shifting. At first, he told himself it was harmless. Just a kid. Curious. Bright. Nothing more. But then, it became routine. Daniel would show up after school, sometimes with homework, sometimes with questions, sometimes with nothing at all. And somehow, that was enough. One afternoon, Daniel walked in with a notebook. "I don't understand this," he said, dropping it lightly onto the desk. Michael glanced at it, then at him. "You're getting worse at introductions," he said. Daniel smirked slightly. "You're getting used to it." Michael almost smiled. Almost. He took the notebook. "Sit." Daniel sat. Close. Too close. Not physically, but in a way that mattered more. Michael explained the problem. Step by step. Patient. Clear. Something he rarely was with anyone else. Daniel followed. Quickly. Naturally. And when he got it right, he looked up. That same small smile again. "Got it." Michael nodded. "Good." A beat. Then Daniel said, "You're a good teacher." Michael paused. That wasn't something he heard often. "I'm not a teacher," he said. Daniel tilted his head. "Maybe not officially." A pause. "But you explain things like you care." That lingered, because Michael hadn't realized it himself. But he did. He cared. And that was new. Across the city, Emma felt it too. Not directly, but like a quiet storm forming just beyond the horizon. She noticed the changes. Daniel coming home later, more thoughtful, more distant, more... And that scared her, because certainty meant he was finding answers. Answers she had spent 15 years avoiding. One evening, Emma stood outside the bookstore. The sun was setting, the street bathed in soft orange light, and for a moment, everything looked peaceful. But inside her, nothing was. Daniel walked up behind her. "You're waiting for me now?" he asked gently. Emma turned, forcing a smile. "Just getting some air." Daniel nodded, but he didn't believe her. "Did you see him again?" she asked. There it was. No more pretending. Daniel didn't hesitate. "Yes." Emma's heart dropped. "I asked you not to." "I know." Then why? Daniel looked at her, and for the first time, he didn't soften his answer. "Because you're not telling me the truth." Silence. Sharp. Unavoidable. Emma took a step back. "Daniel." "Who is he?" Daniel asked. Direct. Clear. No room to escape. Emma shook her head. "It's not important." Daniel let out a small breath. "It is to me." His voice wasn't loud, but it carried something stronger than anger. It carried need. "Mum, I've spent my whole life not asking." He continued. "I accepted it. I didn't push. I didn't make it hard for you." A beat. "But I'm not a kid anymore." Emma felt the words land. Every single one of them. "I deserve to know." Daniel said, that word, deserve. It broke something open inside her. Have you ever realized that the truth isn't just yours? To keep Emma's voice trembled slightly. "I was trying to protect you." Daniel shook his head, from what she didn't answer. Because the answer was complicated. Because the answer was painful. Because the answer might not make sense anymore. Meanwhile, in his office. But not working, not focused, just thinking about details. Small ones, the kind most people ignore. Daniel's birthday. He had mentioned it casually. A few days ago, Michael hadn't thought much of it at the time. But now, echoed, persisted. He opened his laptop, pulled up a calendar, counted backwards. Once, twice, 3 times. His expression slowly changed. From curiosity, to confusion, to something deeper. No, that's not possible. He leaned back in his chair, heart beating just a little faster. Then something else surfaced. The way Daniel held eye contact, the way he thought, the way he questioned, the way he felt familiar. Michael stood up abruptly, restless, uneasy. He walked to the window, then back, then stopped, and for the first time in years, a thought crossed his mind that he didn't immediately reject. What if? The next day, Daniel came again, but this time, the atmosphere was different. Michael didn't sit immediately. He didn't start with questions. He just looked at him, carefully. "Sit," he said. Daniel did, sensing something had changed. "What's wrong?" Daniel asked. Michael didn't answer that. Instead, he asked, "When is your birthday?" Daniel blinked, caught off guard. "Why, just answer." Daniel hesitated, then said June 14. The room went quiet, too quiet. Michael's jaw tightened slightly. "That's specific," he said. Daniel frowned. "Everyone has a birthday." Michael ignored that. "How old are you exactly?" 15. Michael nodded slowly, but inside, everything was shifting. Pieces moving, aligning, threatening to form something he wasn't ready to see. Have you ever felt a truth approaching and tried to stop it before it reached you? Michael walked to his desk, opened a drawer, pulled out the photograph again. Emma, 15 years ago. He looked at it, then at Daniel, then back again. Something in his chest tightened. "No, this doesn't happen. Not like this. Not now." "Do you know your father?" Michael asked. The question came out sharper than intended. Daniel stiffened slightly. "No." Michael took a step closer. "Has your mother ever told you anything about him?" Guarded now. Careful. "Why are you asking me this?" Michael didn't answer. Because he didn't have one he could say out loud. "Just answer," he said. Daniel stood up slowly. "You're acting weird." Michael's voice dropped slightly. "Daniel." It was the first time he said his name like that. Firm. Personnel. It landed. Daniel noticed. Of course he did. "Tell me," Michael said. A beat. Daniel shook his head. "No." Silence. Heavy. Then Daniel added, "If you want to know something, maybe you should ask her." That hit hard. Because deep down, or at least, he was starting to. That night, Emma stood in the bookstore long after closing. The lights dim, the shelves quiet, the world outside fading. She held an old photo in her hands, the same one Michael had. A different copy. Same moment, same memory. She traced it gently with her fingers. "I thought I was doing the right thing, though," she whispered. But now, she wasn't sure anymore. Back in his apartment, Michael sat alone, the photograph on the table in front of him, his thoughts racing. Relentless, unforgiving. He picked up his phone, scrolled through old contacts, names he hadn't touched in years. Then, Emma, still there, still saved, still, not erased. His thumb hovered over it. He didn't call, not yet, but the distance between past and present had never felt this small. Have you ever stood on the edge of the truth, knowing that once you step forward, nothing will be the same again? Across the city, 3 lives were moving toward the same moment, unaware, unprepared, unstoppable, because the truth doesn't stay hidden forever, and when it finally surfaces, it doesn't ask gently, it demands to be seen. And the question was no longer, is it possible, but what happens when the answer is yes? Some truths arrive like a whisper, others arrive like a storm. This one did both. Quiet at first, then impossible to ignore. It happened on a grey afternoon, the kind of day where the sky feels heavy, like it is waiting for something to break. Michael did not call ahead. He did not plan what he would say. He just drove across the city, across 15 years of silence, until he stood in front of a place he once knew by heart. The bookstore. It looked smaller than he remembered, quieter, but still there, still standing, like something that refused to disappear. Have you ever returned to a place from your past and realized it never really left you? Michael pushed the door open. The bell rang softly. The same sound, the same memory. Emma looked up, and everything stopped. No preparation, no warning, just reality, standing right in front of her. Michael, after 15 years, for a moment. Neither of them moved. Neither of them spoke, because some moments are too heavy for words. "Hello, Emma." His voice was calm but not cold. Not anymore. Emma felt her breath catch Michael. His name felt unfamiliar on her lips, and yet painfully familiar at the same time. A long silence followed, not empty, but full of everything they had never said. "Why are you here?" she asked. Finally, Michael stepped closer, not aggressive, not distant, just certain. "I think you know why." Emma's heart tightened. "Then say it." Michael held her gaze. "No more misunderstandings. A beat. Is Daniel my son?" The world didn't explode. There was no dramatic sound, no sudden collapse, just silence. Deep, unforgiving. Emma closed her eyes, just for a second, and in that second she knew there was no more hiding. No. The word came out softly, but it wasn't the truth. Michael didn't react immediately. He just watched her carefully, patiently, like he was giving her one last chance. "Look at me and say that again." Emma opened her eyes, tears forming but not falling. "He is not yours." Michael stepped closer. Now the distance between them was gone. "Then why does he have my eyes?" That broke something. Completely, Emma looked away. Because she couldn't answer. Not with words. Not anymore. Have you ever, fall a time, tried to protect someone for so long that you forget how to tell the truth? Michael's voice softened. Not angry, not accusing, just hurt. "Why didn't you tell me?" Emma finally looked back at him. And this time, she didn't hide. "Because I thought you chose your life over me." The words came out trembling, but I didn't know I was carrying him until you were already gone. Michael shook his head. "I didn't leave you, Emma." "Yes, you did," she said. "You said it was too much." Michael frowned. "What are you talking about?" "The message," she whispered. "You said we needed to stop." Michael's expression changed. Confusion, then realization. "No." He stepped closer. "I said, we needed time." Emma froze. "What, the message was cut off?" Michael said quietly. "I never told you. I wanted to end it." Silence. But this time, it shattered everything. All those years, all that pain, all that distance, built on something that was never true. Emma's knees weakened slightly. She held onto the counter. "No." Her voice broke. "No, that's not possible." Michael's voice softened even more. "It is." A long pause. Then you left without a word. Emma. Tears finally fell. "I thought you didn't want me anymore." Michael exhaled slowly. "And I thought you gave up on us." Two people, standing in the same room, realizing they had both been alone for 15 years, because of something neither of them actually chose. Have you ever wondered how many lives change because of something that was never meant to happen? The door opened behind them. The bell rang again. Daniel stepped inside and stopped immediately. He looked at them. His mother, the man standing too close, speaking too softly. Something was different. He felt it. "Mom," Emma turned. Her heart dropped. "Daniel." Michael turned too. And for the first time, all three of them stood in the same moment. No more distance. No more separation, just truth. Waiting, Daniel looked between them. "What's going on?" No one answered, because no one knew how. Then Daniel stepped forward, slowly. "Why are you here?" he asked Michael. Michael didn't look away. "Because I need to know something." Daniel's eyes narrowed slightly. "What a beat." Then Michael said it. "I think I might be your father." The words landed. Hard, final, unavoidable. Daniel froze. Not moving, not reacting, just processing. Emma stepped forward. "Daniel, listen to me," but he raised his hand slightly. Not in anger, in need, just. Voice was steady, but fragile. He looked at Michael again. "Is that true?" Michael didn't answer immediately, because this moment mattered. More than anything else. "I don't know for slacking." "Sure," he said. "But I believe it is." Daniel turned to Emma, and this time his voice changed. Not soft, not calm, but real. "Is he lying?" Emma couldn't speak. Her silence was the answer, and Daniel felt it. All of it. At once. The confusion, the anger, the relief, the loss. "You knew." His voice cracked. "You knew this." Whole time Emma stepped closer. "I was trying to protect you." Daniel shook his head. "No." His voice rose slightly. "You were protecting yourself." That hit deeper than anything else. "I grew up without a father," he continued. "I asked you questions and you avoided them. A breath, you let me believe I wasn't worth the truth." Emma's tears fell faster. "Now that's not true. Then why didn't you tell me?" Daniel asked silence. "Because there was no answer that could fix this. Have which you ever wanted the truth so badly that when it finally comes it hurts more than the lie." Daniel turned away, running his hands through his hair, trying to breathe, trying to understand. "I don't need a perfect family," he said quietly. "I don't need everything to make sense." He turned back, eyes filled with emotion. "But I needed the truth." That was the moment. The strongest one. The one that changed everything. Emma broke. "Completely. I was afraid," she said. "I was afraid he would leave. Again, I was afraid you would feel abandoned. I was afraid I wouldn't be enough for you." Her voice shook. "I didn't realize I was the one creating that." Feeling silence, deep, honest. Michael stepped forward, not toward Emma, but toward Daniel. Slowly, carefully. "I didn't know about you," he said. "If I had, I would have come back." Daniel looked at him. "Searching why?" Michael answered without hesitation. "Because you matter." A simple sentence, but it carried something real. Daniel felt it. Not fully, not completely, but enough. Enough to not walk away. Emma looked at both of them, and for the first time in 15 years, she let go. Of the fear, of the control, of the silence. "I'm sorry," she whispered. And this time, it wasn't just words, it was truth. Raw, unprotected, real. Have you ever seen someone finally stop running from their past? Because that was what this was. Not an ending, but a turning point. Daniel took a step forward. Not fully, and after braided from these not an ending paused. Daniel to going to the next time sein Zabilio. Daniel to going to the next time sein Zabilio. Daniel took a step forward. Daniel took a step forward. Daniel took a step forward. Daniel took a step forward, closing the distance, but not turning away either. "What happens now?" he asked. Michael looked at Emma, then back at Daniel and answered honestly. "We figure it out. No promises. No perfection. Just truth. And choice. Because in the end, that was what mattered most. Not what they lost, not what they missed, but what they chose. Now, together. Not all endings are loud. Some arrive quietly, like light returning to a room that has been closed for too long. Were not easy. There were no instant hugs, no perfect forgiveness, no sudden sense that everything was fixed. There was distance, careful words, long pauses, and moments where no one knew what to say. But something had changed. The silence was no longer hiding the truth, it was making space for it. Have you ever noticed that healing does not begin with answers, it begins with honesty? The bookstore felt different, not bigger, not newer, but lighter. Usual that morning the bell rang, soft as always. But this time, it didn't feel like something fragile. It felt like something beginning. She adjusted the books on the front table. Her movements, guided 4-4, but it's all in by 4-4. She's saying becentime 6 times of this. And Chalanine, the bell rang soft as always. She raking bell, result the same, slower, more thoughtful, as if she was no longer trying to control everything, just allowing things to be. Daniel sat near the window, a book open in his hands, but he wasn't reading. He was thinking about everything, about the past, about the truth, about what comes next. Michael stood near the door, not fully inside, not outside either. A man who had spent years building distance, now learning how to step into something real without knowing where to stand. That alone said everything have. If you ever been given something you always wanted, and realized you do not know how to hold it? Yet Emma looked at them, both of them, and for a moment she saw it. Not the pain, not the years lost, but the possibility, and that scared her. Just a little, because hope, after loss, feels unfamiliar. Do you want coffee? She asked. Simple, normal, safe. Michael nodded. Yeah. Daniel shrugged. Sure. It was not a big moment, but it mattered, because it was the first time they chose something, together. Even something small. They sat at the table, the same table Emma had used for years. But now, it meant something else. Not a place of routine, but a place of rebuilding. No one rushed to speak, no one forced the moment. And slowly that made it easier. Daniel broke the silence first. Do you read? He looked at Michael. Michael almost smiled. Not as much as I should. Daniel nodded. Mom reads everything. Emma gave a small smile. That is not true. It is, Daniel said. You just do not finish them. Emma paused, then let out a quiet breath. You noticed that Daniel nodded. I notice a lot of things. Michael looked between them, and for the first time, he saw it clearly. The connection, the strength, the years Emma had carried, alone, and something inside him shifted. Not guilt, not regret, but something deeper. Respect. Why didn't you finish them? Michael asked gently. Emma looked down at the book in front of her, running her fingers across the cover. Because I was afraid of the ending. The words were simple, but they carried years inside them. Daniel looked at her. Not all endings are bad. Emma met his eyes. I know that now. Outside the bookstore there was a small tree, old dry. For years it had barely changed, branches thin, leaves gone, like something that had stopped growing. People passed by it every day, without noticing, without caring. But that morning, there was something different. A small green bud, barely visible, but there, alive. Have you ever seen something begin again so quietly? You almost miss it. Days turned into weeks, and things did not become perfect, but they became real. Michael started coming by more often, not as a visitor, but not fully as family yet. Somewhere in between learning, adjusting, trying, Daniel began asking more questions, not all at once, not aggressively, but honestly. And this time, Emma answered, even when it was hard, even when her voice trembled, because she understood now. The truth does not break people. The absence of it does. One afternoon, Daniel and Michael sat together, working through another problem. Numbers, patterns, logic. But this time, it was not just about the answer. It was about the time spent, Got it, Daniel said. Leaning back slightly, Michael nodded. Yeah. A pause. Then Daniel asked, "Were you scared?" Michael looked at him. Of what? Of this. Daniel gestured slightly between them. Michael thought about it, then answered honestly. Yes, Daniel nodded. Me too. A small silence. Then still Michael gave a slight nod. Same. And somehow, that made it easier. Emma watched them from across the room, not interrupting, not controlling, just present. And for the first time, she did not feel like she was holding everything together. She felt like she was part of something shared, something honest. Have you ever realized that love is not about never breaking? It is about choosing to stay, even after everything does. One evening, the three of them sat together. Books open. The soft light filling the room. No tension, no fear. Just quiet. Comfortable. Real Daniel turned a page. Michael leaned back slightly. Emma watched them, and this time she allowed herself to feel it fully. Not fear, not regret, but peace. The bookstore door remained open longer now. More light came in, more people stopped by, more life filled the space, and the bell. That small sound no longer marked interruption. It marked connection. Outside, the tree had more leaves. Now, still small, still fragile, but growing. And inside, so were they. Emma closed her book. This time she did not leave it unfinished. She looked at Daniel, then at Michael, and smiled. Not forced, not careful, but real. Some truths come late. Some chances arrive after everything feels lost. But sometimes, they are not too late. They are just waiting. For the moment, we are finally ready. Have you ever waited so long for something that when it finally comes, you realize it was not about time, it was about courage? They did not have a perfect family. They did not have a perfect past, but they had something stronger, the truth and the choice to stay. And in that quiet bookstore, with light returning, with pages turning, with a tree beginning to grow again, three lives, once separated by silence, finally found their way back, not to what they were, but to what they could become. Because some stories do not end, they begin again. And this time they are written with honesty, with forgiveness, and with a love that never truly disappeared, only waited to be found again.